What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Thursday, everybody. Okay, so we got a really interesting update from Matt Laslo at Ask A Pol, because we've been trying to get more information about the process that is going to be undertaken to get those files released that President Donald Trump asked for on that Truth Social post and then eventually through the White House. This is a directive from President Trump, and even though it wasn't exactly an executive order.
You talk a lot about space superiority. How much of that involves offensive weapons in space?
Well, I think we have to realize that every domain could potentially be kinetic. To put it in military speak, it could be offensive or defensive. That's not what we want to have to do, but you have to be prepared to defend and you have to be prepared to be proactive. So we're looking at all options in the domain of space. A lot of things, a lot of capabilities we won't talk about with cameras and microphones, but when I say dominance, it means we're going to maintain our eyes in the sky no matter what, and hopefully it doesn't come to that, but we're going to need to be able to protect our assets.
3 days ago, President Trump directed you to begin the process of identifying and releasing the UFO and UAP files. I mean, did you ever think that you would be the Secretary of War in charge of potentially declassifying extraterrestrial life to the American people and the world?
Did not have that on my bingo card at all.
And are you prepared to do that now?
Of course. I mean, we've got our people working on it right now. I don't want to oversell how much time it will take. Right? We're digging in. We're going to be in full compliance with that executive order, eager to provide that for the president. So there'll be more coming on that as far as the process of what we'll do.
And what sort of time frame? Do you have any sense for how long this is going to take?
I don't have a time frame for you yet, but stand by.
The Director of National Intelligence said today that her office was going to begin the process of declassifying reports on extraterrestrial and alien life. I'm going back to these types of questions because the American people have wanted to know the answer to these questions for a very long time. And so I'm just curious if you think that, one, if this is the beginning of disclosure for the American people and the world, and two, if the Pentagon is actually prepared to start declassifying some of these things that might really shed some answers on this instead of keeping it secret.
We would love to. We'll work with the DNI as we always do. I'm heartened to hear that she's doing that. President Trump has been committed to disclosure on lots of levels, and he's made it clear that he wants answers on this. He's given us a responsibility to do it. We're going to be a part of delivering that. It'll be a deliberative process. We want to make sure expectations are going to be high, right? I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so we're going to take a little time to make sure we assess what this should look like and deliver for the president, for the American people. Thanks.
Usually when Trump asks for something, it's not completely uncovered, as we know, as it happened with the Epstein files and the JFK files, but something is done every time Trump asks. So I'm guessing that this is going to keep progressing. We're probably not going to get everything, but we're going to get something. And based on what we've been hearing, people from the UAP Caucus mentioning, we saw Representative Eric Burlison's recent statement where he claims that what he saw cannot be replicated by humans. So this is what Representative Burlison wrote in a recent statement. He wrote, "There are objects using unconventional propulsion technology, almost anti-gravity, that are beyond our capabilities and are violating our U.S. airspace, over our nuclear missile sites, over nuclear power plants, over our military bases." This is from Representative Eric Burlison. Representative Tim Burchett said the following.
UFO is the saucer shaped and there's something on top. And I've never seen anything. I've not seen it. Well, I take that back. I've seen things, but that's since I've been in Congress and I'm not allowed to discuss this. I would just hope that the president would disclose everything that I've seen in every SCIF I've been in and in every confidential conversation, every picture I've seen, every video I've seen. I wish that he would release all those.
Would that change the world? I mean, would that change people?
No, I don't think so. I think we just realize that we're one grain of sand in 100 million beaches. And I mean, if you think we're the best that God can do, I think you greatly underestimate God.
That was one from a few days ago on Benny Johnson's show, and then he was on CNN. Yeah.
So, Congressman, I want to ask about some statements you've made in various interviews and help us to understand what you've been saying. You've been talking about extraterrestrial life on planet Earth. One of the things you said in an interview, you talked about a conversation you had with a U.S. admiral. They tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater, as large as a football field underwater. This was a documented case, and I have an admiral telling me this stuff. What do you believe exists on Earth in terms of extraterrestrial life, and what have you seen proof of?
Well, there's some things I've seen proof of that I can't discuss, and I've urged the White House to disclose these things. You know, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars researching something, and then you have one group telling us they don't exist, and I have the best pilots in the world telling me, Tim, this thing was 14 feet from my canopy, and he did this, and I've seen things that I wish the public could see. There's just a lot of unknowns. And again, they tell us they don't exist, but then they issue redacted reports, and they're still studying. Almost every one of our alphabet agencies has that. And we had testimony that said they have a recovery unit. Now, what are they recovering? I'd like to know. It's our tax dollars. We have a right to know. And when government thinks that we can't handle what's going on out there, that's when government's gotten a little too big, and we need to cut their wings off. And right now they're spending, our Pentagon has got all this dark money. You have the alphabet agency studying these things. One group will tell us they exist, the other one doesn't. I just think it's time that we have total disclosure. And you all in the press ought to be for transparency and disclosure. I don't see a problem with that.
Look, I'm all for transparency and disclosure. If you know something about extraterrestrial life, I wish you'd tell me. Representative Tim Burchett, thank you for being here with us this morning. Appreciate the discussion.
Okay, so based on that, we have that update from Matt Laslo, and this is it. The latest on Ask A Pol is this. Congresswoman Luna was approached by Matt, and it says Secrets Chair Luna in open conversations with White House on UFO disclosure. And this is Congresswoman Luna's statement on Ask A Pol.
Are you talking with Pentagon or?
I have a meeting with the Pentagon unrelated today on something, but I've been actively communicating now with the teams that are running point on that. So whether it's ODNI, FBI, Pentagon, and White House on that. And I'm looking forward to sharing what we've all seen with you.
Yep. I'll be watching. Thank you, ma'am.
What we've all seen on UAP. And according to them, they've seen something and a lot of stuff that the public hasn't. So let's hope that they get something. But how would you imagine that this can go well? Like, how would you like for, assuming that it's going to be Trump? And I know that a lot of you don't like him. I don't trust him either. But assuming that he is, which it seems like he's going to be, what kind of scenario would you accept, especially if you don't like Trump? What kind of scenario would you accept of him giving you disclosure? Who would have to be on the podium with him? What would have to happen? I'm going to tell you what I want to see because I don't trust this administration. I don't trust Donald Trump. I never really have. I'm sorry, but that's just the reality. I got to be upfront with you guys. I think that an acceptable scenario would be that Trump goes and asks for the UAP Caucus to start looking into the files. He leaves Arrow out of it, especially the specific names of Susan Goff, Sean Kirkpatrick, Tim Phillips, the people who we have seen that are probably under a different agenda compared to the people who want the truth. If you do that and you like adhere to the people within Congress who are trying to get this and trying to unclassify this, who already saw evidence, you have those, you present a lot of that evidence that they've already seen, and some they haven't seen because there's a lot they haven't seen either. Remember that allegedly, Congresswoman Luna also allegedly saw either images of bodies or bodies. I think it was images if she saw anything. You would have to have them. You would have to have some of the most important scientists who have been looking at this stuff also present. You would more than likely would have to have like a pre-agreed statement with other world leaders like China, the UK, Russia, Japan, you know, like big governments that have been investigating this for a while. Also, smaller countries too, like Uruguay, they've been looking at this for many decades. Brazil has been looking at this for many decades. There's a recent statement from a politician in Brazil who used to be a defense minister, who promised that he would release the files that he's seen with his eyes if he gets elected president. He's using it as a political talking point, which is why I don't give it too much credence. He probably won't win either, but that also happened. So you would have to arrange something with other world leaders too. And if you do present evidence, it has to be well sourced. You have to know that this evidence is not either made by AI or misinformation or passage material, which is very prominent within those circles. And after that, after all of those people are also in the know and present for that announcement, then President Donald Trump can make his announcement. If he just says we're not alone and maybe gives you a little bit of information, but there's no way to corroborate everything he said, about 70% of the world's population is not going to believe that, because Trump's actions currently are way more involved and inclined towards war with Iran and towards ignoring the Epstein files than any other type of transparency. And that is just the reality of it. And you can't deny it. I'm sorry, but you can't. So that would be the only acceptable potential disclosure announcement from Trump that I would consider like legit. If he just does the announcement without all that, or many elements of that, maybe not all, maybe I'm asking for a little bit too much. If he doesn't do that, I'm just not going to buy it. I'm sorry, but and I know that a lot of you won't either. So what do you think? How do you think this is going to progress? Do you think that we're going to get to see what these Congress people have seen with their own eyes? I sure want to. They seem like it's been at least eyebrow raising, isn't it? So I'll be reading in the comments. Let me know what you think. Kudos to Matt Laslo for getting this soundbite. You're killing it, buddy. Talk to you soon. Before I continue, I just want to let you know that if you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, really, but it is what helps us the most. However, if you want to help out the channel in other ways, we have links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube or on Patreon. If you want merch and no ads, I think Patreon is the way. This is the only ad you get on Patreon. You can also choose to give us a review on Spotify, because we were just accepted to the partner program and we can really use your help to keep growing. You can also go to the main channel if you're new. And I got about 850 episodes that you can go through. I would really appreciate doing any of those things. Whatever you choose to do is always appreciated, so thank you. And that's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Matt Laslo, always. Bye.